I love visual effects, and I'm not one of those CGI is automatically bad people, but I also love just ingenuity and simple solutions, like using mirrors to make a set look bigger, or miniatures in forced perspective. But no effect is simpler and more old school than a good old fashioned cut. Some of the earliest visual effects were just cuts, and even then it could be quite effective, and still is. I mean, I have a career thanks to cutting between things being there and not being there. A very common cutting effect is to cut during a whip pan. Very easy to get right, and you see this all the time in films that hide cuts in order to look like it's all one continuous take. But it can also be used to seamlessly switch out props. Or to connect a full-scale set with a miniature. Cutting during a whip pan is something that I do a lot, in shorts, as well as movies. Even in Shazam, where we had the resources to do fully CGI shots, there was still a place for it. When Shazam needed to super speed across a room, it's just 2 takes cut together with a little added blur on top. But you can also cut in the middle of shots that don't have a quick whip pan. This works best when you have a quick or explosive change happening, like this literal explosion cutting from a soldier grabbing onto a fence to his severed hand still holding on. A really great example of cutting on a sudden change can be found in the movie Brain Dead, also known as Dead Alive. It works so well because of how sudden it is. There's another moment in the film that isn't so sudden and doesn't work quite as well. You can see that they added a hand wiping across the frame to disguise the cut, but it's still noticeable. If the skin was yanked off quickly, it might have been more seamless. Something that surprised me that it worked was this moment in Lights Out. We shot a stunt woman falling, and we shot Teresa pretending to land, but my intention was to cut away between those 2 shots. The editor, though, put them right after one another, and even though the camera angles are quite different, it all feels like one moment because it happens pretty fast. I see people online often praising long, intricate oneers and complaining when there are too many rapid cuts, and I don't always disagree. Oneers can be awesome, and there is such a thing as too many cuts. But clever, quick cutting can be great. One of my favorite examples is this Facehugger attack in Aliens. It runs, it jumps up on a table, and then jumps to Ripley and wraps its tail around her throat. The running part is a puppet with moving legs dragged along the floor. The jumping up on the table and jumping towards the camera is 2 separate shots. For the first shot, they placed the Facehugger on the table and pulled it back onto the ground. They then played that shot in reverse, so it jumps up on the table. For the second part, they again placed the Facehugger on the table in the same spot, but this time they yanked it towards camera. So with the reverse shot and the forward shot, you get this. If we look at the shot of the tail wrapping around the neck in slow motion, you can see that drops of water are going in reverse. The way they did it was to start out with the tail already around the neck. They then pull it off and reverse the shot. Super simple technique, but with the quick editing, it works great. A more gradual cutting effect is to change things as you cut between different angles. In Annabelle Creation, the Mullins' daughter was supposed to transform from a little girl to a tall demon woman. With CGI, this could be done all in one shot, but I figured we would do it the low-budget way. Film the little girl, and then when we cut to another angle, it's now a tall woman crouching down. Add some cracking bone sounds as she gets up, and you have a growing demon girl. A better and more classic example of this is the transformation scene in An American Werewolf in London. Every time it cuts to a new angle, the makeup is a little further advanced. And it's still pretty effective. Compared to the sequel, where CGI now was a possibility and they could do it all in one shot. Again, this isn't a CGI is bad video, but I think CGI many times can be helped by clever cutting as well. I'm just in favor of using every trick in the toolbox, and sometimes the tool you need is a cut.